Welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast, guys. We've got another cracking show. We talk about, we touch base on Groenewegen signing with Team Bike Exchange. Groenewegen's coming to our team, my team. Me and George run the team I'm on. George and I run through what it's like to be back in New Zealand after sort of settling in Europe for the last year or two, and what it's like to be training back on New Zealand roads. Jonesy shits himself.
Oh, I thought you were going to save that.
We don't edit anything. We make a real effort to not edit anything.
Social Distance Podcast, uncut.
I'm not prepared for this.
This is going to be a good one. I can sense it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And we're fucking G.
Are we?
Ah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Well, you can't impeach somebody that's doing a great job.
From Suchin Tendulkar.
Bruce Gigolo.
Gigolo.
George Bennett, you deserve this, big fella.
What's that salute?
He's put the finger straight through the one play.
We try and create a comfortable environment. There's no bullshit.
There's just so many of them, aren't there, though, that just don't like it.
Nelson, be proud. Yeah, baby.
Should we see if we can do a show without any editing today?
Oh,
There
yeah,
was
the
a-
feedback was savage.
It was savage. I mean, we still had our loyal listeners that supported us, that, you know, they always do, always will, no matter what we say or what we do. But there's no doubt about the fact that they said we prefer it not to be edited. So maybe down the line we could release the cuts from those episodes. Like, I'm talking
I'll tell you
10,
what,
12
you think
years.
that was savage. You thought it was a savage response, unedited. Imagine edited. Imagine an unedited one. The response from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all we can say is this
Who's that?
episode is the uncut
who's
version.
ringing?
No edits.
Who's ringing you?
Me.
I'm on speaker.
No one ever rings me, and literally 13 seconds into the show, my phone started ringing.
Who is it?
Sorry
Put it on
about that.
speaker.
It was actually Julian Dean, who would have been a good guest.
He would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ring
No.
him back. Put him on
Um,
speaker.
Cut that.
Edit. Start again. Redo it.
How are we, boys? Right. Yeah, just got back. It's bloody pissing with rain in Rotorua, so hopefully the Wi-Fi hangs in here, because often when it rains here, you mix the rain with the rotten eggs smell of the sulfur of Rotorua. Sometimes the Wi-Fi in there, the telecommunications aren't great, but so far so good. Pissing with rain. Just got back from training, avoiding the. New Zealand is the home of the road cone, eh? Have you noticed, George, how many road cones there are here now? Like, honestly, they'll do like. I came down this descent last week, and they had probably for 2 kilometers just road cones, middle of the road, each side of the road. And I was the only one there. I was on a country road, and then I came down around the corner, and there was a dude with a stop sign, but not like the lollipop stick, like an actual like a school pedestrian crossing, like lollipop across the road.
Oh, really?
stop
Like
sign.
clothesline, yeah. If you try and run it.
Clothesline
Stop
me, yeah. And he lifted it as soon as I got there. There was no one around. I was like, and they were literally doing probably 50 meters of work, but they love a road cone here.
They overindulge in the work sites, because we've got one on Takaka Hill, which is like the only long climb. It's maybe like the only long climb, and there's more than 20
New
minutes
Zealand.
in the. Yeah, probably is. It's probably one of the only like 20-minute climbs in New Zealand. And it's a 40-minute climb. It's a mountain, but they the road fell off like a few years ago, and they said, "Oh, it should take about 6 months to fix," and that was 3 years ago, and they haven't fixed it yet. So to get through the first 3K, well, they now have fixed it, and so there's now like, the final bits of work. They're putting on some painting the road signs. But you have to
Do
get
they do what everyone else does and just go, yeah, that's because of COVID?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've put it down to COVID,
Mm.
even though they were working full gas through. But I try and ride up there, and because what had happened is someone come through on their bike a year ago and just binned it in a work zone. They've gone, "Oh, we don't trust you fucking cyclists. You're a bunch of muppets." So to now go through 2.5K of roadworks, you have to jump in a van, and they
Really?
drive you through the roadworks. Yeah, so you jump in a van, and then you
Sag wagon.
They drive you through to the sag wagon, and in the van is just these dumbbells, and you
They're
can
running
just
a
smash weights.
Running a shuttle service.
Yeah, so I tried to so on the way up, they're like, I tried to get through, and they're like, "Oh, now you go jump in the van." I was like, "No, that's right, mate. I'll ride up." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care if you want to ride up. You get in the van." So I got in the van. I was like, "It's pretty punishing.
It's just
Real
like-
annoying because you've got to get out and then straight away started efforts. And then, yeah, so then I was like straight away getting efforts, like cold legs, like, oh. So I was like, on the way down, I was like, fuck it, I'm just running it. And I'm just going to try hide behind this car and then hide behind the car in the queue, you know, and then as soon as the light goes green, I'm just going to bin it through the inside. And then I started like hiding in the queue, and you just see these guys, they just saw me from, there's just a spotter, you know, drive up there with their work truck, pick me out of the queue, march me down like the walk of shame into the van.
It would have been an awkward drive in the van.
They should commercialize that. Shuttle runs up Takaka for cyclists.
Yeah, be good.
And like, it'd be
the guys just doing, they should build a downhill track.
It'd be a foolproof business idea because you've got no option.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they'll
exactly.
charge you
Oh, you're gonna go
$2.
to, yeah.
You want to go up, you got to get in $2, mate. Make your choice.
Yeah,
They love
there's
it.
no way around.
I've never heard of that. Never heard of that in roadworks.
You know, the only way around is if you drive 300k south, walk the Heafy track, which is like 100k of single track, and then drive up from Golden Bay. So that's your only other way around. So it's about a 3-day detour if you want to go around it.
If anyone's going to do it, that'd be you, though. If you had to press set on your Garmin midway through an effort, or do the Heafy track, you do the Heafy track, eh?
Yeah, exactly. If I had to stop an effort or the Heafy, I'd probably just oh, this won't look good on the file.
So what's going on, Bills? Groenewegen.
Yeah, right. Jonesy's just sitting there.
I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Fucking Garmins and efforts and Eefy tracks and fucking Takakua Pong Bong or whatever the fuck. What the hell's going on? It's like you forget that we're doing a potty and people in their car going, sounds interesting, but I've got no fucking idea what they're talking about. But they're having fun.
Yeah,
we're just coming real
People
hot.
wonder why we edit this shit.
Yeah, because we come in with these
not
docile,
controversial.
unenthusiastic tones, and we talk about roadworks.
That's it.
It's because do you know what's happened is I came home from training today and I was like a real hard day on the pedals, plural. And I had a big lunch and I fell asleep and I've woken up in like the fourth dimension. You know, like you just woken up and you're like, oh, I'm not getting out of this.
Oh, you'll come good by the 30-minute mark. So, but what's the go, Bills? Groenewegen, former teammate of yours, GB, going to Green Edge. I was talking to a mate the other day, and normally when a sprinter goes to a new team, he brings a posse, you know, lead out guys or whatever. He's going solo, and I don't know the guy, but also if I was going to a new team and I was still on a contract, I'd want to fight. You know, I want the team to go, we're not letting you go, bro. But when the team goes, no worries, sad to see you go, but all the best, I'll be like, oh, okay. Like great FIFO, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, that Saturday night, this news came out. So I was like at this barbecue, and then like we're driving back. And I looked at my phone for hours, and I like got this message in the group chat. And it was like a farewell. And I was like, oh, wow, Bills, man, keep this top secret, mate. Top secret. But I think Dylan's coming. You're going to be teammates with Dylan. And then I like check on Twitter, and like 3 hours ago, it was like an article like Groenewegen, like a press release, official press release. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, but it was kept under wraps, eh? It was under wraps.
Yeah, normally you get a hint of it, eh? Normally you get a smell of something happening.
I reckon, like you say, Jonesy, a lot of sprinters, when they do leave, they take posses with them. Obviously, Dylan's coming alone. Like you say, he's come out of his contract early, so maybe other guys are in contract that he usually works with in Jumbo. Also, our team's pretty chocker. Like he's coming in as, I think he's like 29th rider on the roster, which is only one rider off the limit. I think you can only have 30 in the team, and but more importantly, I don't think he needs a posse in our team because we've been developing for a few years now a pretty gun little sprint squad, and we might be sort of going under the radar a little bit at the moment with it. We've been sprinting a lot with Caden Groves, who's had his ups and downs throughout the season with injuries and sickness and things like that. So, but he was really getting top of things at the end of the season and showing how quick he is. But he's had his little group around him for a couple of years now, and he's just re-extended with the team. So I think there's a group there for Groenewegen to already come into. Obviously it will take time for him to work out and work out his guys and how he wants to use them best. But we've got quite a good young sprint squad that we've been developing for a couple of years, and that we're going to continue to develop going forward. So even though he's coming across alone, he's not going to be short of good dudes, I reckon, to sort of start getting the lead out ripping.
I reckon it's a good move too. Like, because what do? You
Yeah.
know, if you're Dylan, you are one of the best sprinters in the world, but then you got Wout van Aert in your team. You know what I mean? And Jumbo's so like GC focused, and then Wout wants to go for the green jersey as well, so he's going for sprints. So there's no room in the tour squad, but all your lead out men are also going to other races, and you know what I mean? Like it's like owning a Ferrari being in New Zealand. You know what I mean? Like you've got this massive potential, but you can't drive, you can't drive over 100 km an hour. So you just won't get to use it on Jumbo. So I reckon it was a good move for everyone. Jumbo would have been like, they want to see him do well. You know, they develop them. They're like, everybody wins. It's one of those moves where everybody wins.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's really good for our team. Like, you know,
shit, yeah.
Just the obvious. He's a race winner, you know, and every team wants, you know, we have races in our team. Of course, this year we didn't win as many races as we normally would, and you know,
it takes the pressure off Bling. That's the biggest thing.
Well, it adds another dimension, you know, as well. Like Bling's the kind of guy. Groenewegen.
Yeah.
Don't know. Yeah, probably. Who knows? I have no idea. But like you say, like it takes the pressure off Bling in the bunch sprint stages. He can still win. Bling's the kind of guy who wins stages that are typically, you know, maybe Groenewegen's not in those finishes. You know, really hard, nuggety sort of days. And Groenewegen, then you have Groenewegen as an option for the fast sprint stages. And whatever Grand Tour Bling goes to, and whatever Grand Tour Groenewegen goes to, you've actually got two covered. You know, or you can cover all 3 Grand Tours with those guys who are can be prolific winners. Like you say, George, what the fuck was he going to do in Jumbo now? You know, like Van Aert's always going to go to the Tour. Van Aert's always going to sprint at the Tour because he can also win fucking Mont Ventoux, which means he can win the green jersey. So there's straight away that take another picture. Then you're going for Roglic and Vingegaard and the Grand Tours, and it makes it.
I'm looking forward to that lineup. I'm looking forward to watching a sprint when they go at it. You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to inevitably those two are going to cross swords, and both of them will. You know, sprinters are generally. I mean, Wout's really not a typical sprinter in terms of mindset, but you know how sprinters, you know, they've got the mongrel in them, and they'd love to. No one sprints faster when they've got a point to prove, or they've got a bit of like
chip.
Real chip on their shoulder. You know, and that's how they operate, and they've got. So I'm looking forward to seeing that unfold.
Hopefully they don't cross swords at the after party after the tour.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Crossing swords are.
Now that you boys, all right, enough about cycling shit for a bit. Now that you're back at New Zealand, I've got a few observations I want to throw out there.
New Zealand. Back at New Zealand. Like what is
back in?
Back in.
Sorry, mate.
Back at New Zealand.
Back at New Zealand. Back in New Zealand.
It's not a restaurant.
Yeah, back in New Zealand. But you know how you haven't spent a lot of time with older people for a while, like, you know, your parents and all this sort of stuff. One thing I noticed the other night at dinner, what is it with old people when they want to look at one photo on your phone? Like I had a photo of my kids and want to show my mum, and they never just look at that photo. They start flicking. So they've seen the photo.
Campaign situation.
No, I dodged it. But I saw mum starting to go one across, and then they get some speed up and just start scanning through your photos. And I literally had to go, no, like, give it back. Because you're always, most blokes, we were talking last episode how that bloke was saying, oh, every bloke sends a dick pic. No, we don't. But most blokes are part of a crook WhatsApp group that you've got no control over what that group sends. And there's always that one crook unit that sends stuff that you go, oh, shit, I better delete that. I don't want anyone seeing that on my phone. And
we had it
got close. It got close.
We had a WhatsApp group mix up last year. 2 years ago, it was so funny. We had one rider, and he so we have like 3 WhatsApp groups. We had like you know, the whole team, like with office ladies, staff, directors, management, all the riders, everything, women's riders, development team.
That's very prim and proper messages. Watch your spelling.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
Courteous, don't swear.
Then you got like the materials update group, like where we talk about like, okay, how we can improve materials, this and that. And then you've just got the board, like just the riders, like the men's riding team. And I was just one day sitting there and I saw this thing come up, like a video pop onto the into the overall team group with all the women and the office ladies. And I clicked on it, and I went, "Oh mate!" Straight away on the phone, ringing this guy like, "You've
Delete.
fucked up, yeah."
Oh, no.
And then about half an hour later, there was just this sullen apology, like just one of those like, "Guys, I'm very sorry for sending disrespectful material."
What was it? What was it?
Oh, edit.
Can you tell us or not? Well, tell us. We'll cut it. No, we won't cut it. So don't tell us.
But it was just inappropriate.
Joe,
I did this other thing.
You got to turn the automatic save photos off on your WhatsApp.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah. That's first thing you do whenever you get a mates group on WhatsApp. Turn off all syncs because that will seriously bite you in the ass. Even you hear stories of going through certain countries. Like if you go to Dubai, can't they like subpoena your phone and go through like messages or whatever? If you got some crook stuff on there, they can throw you in the clink. Even if you go, hey, that wasn't me.
Yeah, but I think it has to be like illegally crook stuff.
Unless your mates are sending you kiddie porn or something, you probably need to leave those WhatsApp groups. If you're in a WhatsApp group where that's going around, I think you need to check your WhatsApp group.
Check your company and your friends, and check your life. Really sit down and have a big think about where you're at.
But you're right.
There's a lot of little things like that because I've noticed that I'm now a 31-year-old man living with my parents, which in many ways is awesome, but in many ways it makes you think about how it's not normal that a 31-year-old lives, because this time I'm home for a long time. I'm home for 2.5 months, and it's fine when it's just me, but it's often me and Caitlin living here, or with her parents or my parents, and like we got a great setup, but there's all these things that wouldn't bother you or you wouldn't notice at all until it's every day, and you just feel like, right, at some point I need to just stay in Spain.
Yeah. Well, like you're always your parents' kid, eh? Doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so they're always caring and like they're always wanting the best for you. Like when you go riding in the rain or whatever, and your old man's like, "Oh, just be careful, mate. Like it's these roads are pretty slippery." I've been riding a bike for a long time, but like it's just you're still their son,
Yeah,
exactly. That's it. Like it's all well-intentioned stuff, which just doesn't go down well sometimes when you're in a shitty mood on it and you're grown up.
You just want to say like, stop fucking caring.
Yes. Why do you fucking love me so much? So annoying.
The first week or first 2 weeks, they don't want to have any fights with you because they're so happy that you're around. So they'll just go quiet. So if they go, "What have you been up to?" "Oh, I bought this or whatever," and they go, "Okay, yeah, interesting purchase." Whereas by the third month, they're going to go, "What the fuck are you wasting your money on that stuff for?" And then it's just sort of kicks off. But the first couple of weeks, it's real eggshell sort of, "Oh, yeah, no, good on you. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have done that." But
then it shifts into like 4 weeks, and it's like, "Oh, well, yeah, you're nuts, mate. You're nuts." And then like by the third purchase, it's like, "You fucking idiot. But have I not brought you up to understand the value of $1?
Did you say 12 months ago, GB, that your tactic was always have a fight with them just before you leave, so that you don't have that homesickness?
Yeah, that was a great way. So you just gotta shit the bed before you go. So you want to. This wasn't with my parents. This was more with girlfriend and friends or whatever. Because everybody, your whole life, your whole inner circle.
Burn them all.
This was when I was doing months away from. So I would often leave a month before Caitlin back to New Zealand. So I'd come to Europe and she would stay here because, like I think that year she was looking after some family members and things like that. And it was quite hard to leave. Like it was like, I just had this great summer, New Zealand summer, and then we'd been away on this awesome trip and everything was just great. Everything was just too good, and I was just looking at the weather forecast in Europe, going, "It's fucking -5 in Andorra. I've got to go in there and do these terrible spring races, Paris-Nice, and you don't want to go. So that's when you just got to rip your nest up you know, the metaphorical nest, and just start a fight. Go, fucking get me out of here. Get me out of here. And you just, oh my God, I'm out of here. And it buys you a couple of weeks, you know, and then you just get the remorse. Then you get the remorse.
I always do the opposite, where I spend the last 24 hours trying to be the nicest person in the world.
Or patch up.
Like,
you're just trying to patch up.
because I always get on the plane, you know, like, and I fucking, like, my dad listens to the show as well, but this is genuine. Like, I love being around, I love him, you know, and I love coming home. And like you say, it's funny because you're not living in your own place and stuff, but like ultimately it's always quite fun. And father and sons, it's just normal. Sometimes you get irritated with each other and stuff. But then he always dropped me off at the airport in Rotorua, and I'll get the little half an hour flight, and then you got the big 3-hour connection in Auckland Airport. And like, if I don't do the patch up, I'll get on that first flight out of Rotorua, and as I fly out, I look out the window and I see his car driving down the road. Like, I'll nearly break into tears because I'm like, oh, such a fucking prick for 2 months. You know, I feel so shit. So I have to try to go for the old, like, get on the plane going like, pat on the back, mate. You did well. You did well this summer.
That's what my sister said to me once, and it really rung true with me. Like, when I was really homesick when I first left, I remember being so homesick when I first left as like a 18-year-old, and she said something that made me go, "Oh my God, this is exactly what happened to me." Is when I was there, after like a week, I was just like, you know, like crying myself to sleep, you know, and I just remember thinking like, oh my God, just let me go home. I'll be such a nice guy. I'll be so good to everybody. Like what you were saying, man. You're just like, you know, if I could just get home, I could just, you know, like, oh, just be around everybody. I'd appreciate it so much. And then you get home and you're like, fuck me, New Zealand. What is it?
Yeah. It's so weird because we're so settled. And like, in my case, because I didn't come home last New Zealand summer because of COVID and shit, I couldn't get back. So I spent 2 years in Europe, which is the longest I've ever spent away from New Zealand. And so, of course, in that time, I settled more over there. Like, we're settled over there anyway, aren't we, George? We've got our own places. It was where we live. And then you still spend, like, most of the time you're in Europe, even though you're, like, you're not, like, maybe not always on the forefront of your mind, but ultimately you miss your family. You miss your parents, you know? You miss
of course.
being around them. You miss the arguments or being a pain in the ass or, you know, getting irritated. You miss that stuff because you love them. But then when you come back, you're like, why?
You know what?
Sorry, I'm literally just doing this because Dad watches the show. I'm just
cut that.
I'm going to have to start at 48 hours up before leaving this year.
Do you know what my old man did yesterday?
You're going to get the You've Changed chats very soon.
My old man did this yesterday, right? I walk into the lounge. So I've been the national champ for how long? 11 months. Oh, no, 10 months.
George Bennett, yeah, baby.
Nelson, be proud.
I've got another story about that as well. But I walked into the lounge and he was just sitting there on his phone. He looks up. He looks at me and he goes, "Why the fuck do you wear a white jersey?" What are you talking about?
Well, he obviously doesn't listen to the show.
He's like, "Why are you wearing a white jersey?" I said, "Do you mean like instead of a yellow one?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You're joking." Well, you know, is it your training jersey? I was like, "Oh my God." I won the nationals and it's the New Zealand jersey. He goes, "Oh, fuck. Yeah, sorry, of course." Mind blank. I'm
going to sidetrack on that because this actually runs in real well to what you I think this is going to be the story you're going to tell, George. But we actually had a comment on our Twitter after the last episode saying who was the guy saying the Nelson be proud and where was it from? So obviously it was a listener, not a watcher, not a viewer on YouTube. So that commentary is from last year's New Zealand Championships when George won, and it was the commentator Mark Watson who was saying, you know, "Yeah, boy, Nelson be proud." And obviously George has made it very clear that if he gets irritated by the intro. But 2 days ago, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, George, you were on Mark Watson's radio show. So did you bring it up with him?
I didn't, because I was so backtracked by the first question I answered. So I was like, they're like, "Can you do a radio show?" Yeah. And so I was ringing and I listened to the last 30 seconds of the last bit, and I had no idea what the last conversation was before I was the guest. And there was some pretty, I think it was mental health or something like this. So, and it said, "And welcome, we're here with George Bennett. George, do you cry?" And I went, do I cry? And I was just stumped. And then I was just thrown for the whole interview. I don't think I just stuck on that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you get up to a bad start in a conversation and you just read your head like, what did I? And then I don't know what I answered. Any other question after that, I was just like, do I cry? Do I not?
Particularly if you've just woken up from a nap.
Like, yeah.
Jeez, that is a hot intro.
Yeah. Do you cry? And I don't even know what I answered. But geez, that was a curveball to start an interview. And
yeah, that's an interesting way. Yeah, right. So you were on a show.
Yeah, I was. There was a bus coming and he just went, here you go, mate. Straight under it. Bus.
He's a good dude, Mark Watson. When we went to
that was good.
When we were training for the Beijing Olympics, I think it was, we were in Bordeaux and he was there with us. I don't exactly know what he was doing there, to be honest. He wasn't doing journalism. I don't know what he was doing.
Oh.
No. But he was there. He was certainly there. But yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
Bills, I got a question for you. Do you find, or actually, Jonesy, this will be interesting because you might have seen it happening slowly, but it's probably harder to see it happening slowly than to come back to it. Do you feel you come back to a very different place this year? Because what I've noticed is normally I come back every year and after a few days I realize, yep, same, like in a good way, in a really good way, like awesome, same old shit, which is perfect, how I like it. This year I've come back to New Zealand and man, what a different place. Just divided. Unbelievable. I went to a barbecue on Saturday night and there's just little, that's the old man on the quad bike, if you can hear the lumber. It's
same here. It's the same.
Pockets of there's a lot of hate going around at the moment, isn't there?
Oh, mate. And the thing, it's obviously all comes back to a bit COVID, but
it all comes down to if you got the jab or not, or who you
that's
vote.
It.
It's just very hot. And I mean, everybody's so charged on it because you come back and I've got a lot of fatigue on this. I've got absolute conversational fatigue about it because you just go, oh, fuck, here we go. But you come in and I noticed on Saturday night, it's a very contentious issue and everyone's either like having to quit there's teachers who quitting their jobs or heaps of people that can't be employed because they're not getting the jab and then they go and it's just like so charged at the moment. And I'm just feeling there's this fucking anger going on. Jeez.
Oh yeah.
Well, I heard a story. I heard a story of a lady, friend of a friend, who fudged a document to say that she's been jabbed. And my reaction was, well, the first fuck up she did was to tell everyone. If I fudged a document, I wouldn't be telling anyone. I just be like, I had the jab because it's a personal thing. But it's almost like some of them want to antagonize and want to piss people off by getting either that conversation going or to be like, I'm part of the 10 percentile that doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, and you're all sheep and you're all this. Just fucking chill out, all right? As you do you. But you've got this guy in New Zealand that got 10 jabs in one day.
Yeah.
10 jabs?
10 jabs in one day.
People were just paying him with giving them their ID and he'd just go get the jab for them.
Surely that can't be
good. He just loaded up with 10.
They're real worried about him, eh? Because they don't know what's going to happen, but they can't do anything about it. It's God. Mate, it's in you now. Like
how did they bust him? How did it get out? Because again, keep it quiet.
He had this own new strain coming out of him, I think. Just 10 jabs.
They detected in the wastewater. They go, we've detected this super strain coming out of the wastewater of this fucking postcode. Yeah.
He probably got real crook and went in with this mystery illness, and they're like, fuck. What's wrong? What's anything? He's like, probably should tell you. I actually had 10 COVID jabs today.
But I always think when there's massive numbers for stupid shit like that, surely you would have got to 9 jabs and thought, hey, that's enough. He went one more, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, double digits.
I reckon
a lot of the line at 3 probably.
A lot of the anger, like it's really it's a massively divided country at the moment. Like for starters, there's a real obvious division when Auckland gets a border put around it. And they can't, you can't come or go from Auckland. And then now there's this whole like, Auckland's opening up on Wednesday, Jones, for the first time in 3 months or more maybe. So they haven't been able to go to anywhere else in the country. But obviously, Auckland is the massive part of the population in New Zealand. Like it's a third of the population live there. And summer holidays, most Aucklanders piss off from Auckland and go to their, $3 million batches and, take their SUVs down with their bloody $100,000 boat in the back. But there's like parts of the country that are like, shit, yeah, we can't wait for Auckland to open because it's going to be massive for our, for the tourist places and at the beaches. And then there's a part of New Zealand that's going, we don't want them to come, so they're making their own borders to stop Aucklanders from coming in. So that just creates a massive division that all of a sudden 1/3 of our population has been like pushed away from the rest of our population.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a really bizarre.
It's manifesting, I've noticed, in angry drivers that just go, I'm so fucking angry about this or that I'm going to nearly see how close I can get to this guy on his bike.
Yeah.
Because he looks like a dick. And he's probably right. I do probably look like a dick fucking spinning away down the Mutri Valley, and they just go, right, I'm just going to see if I can buzz him, And I've always been bad drivers here, but holy shit. In the last week.
I was out training the other day. And I was on this quiet country road. You see about one car every 10 minutes. It's super, super quiet. It's also a really wide road. And I was out training by myself, riding along. And I typically do my best to ride as hard left as possible. Like I much prefer to ride in gravel than get hit by a car. And, so I'll stay left, hard left. This guy came past me, not a car coming the other way, no cars in sight, massively wide road. And he gave me heaps of space. Like he went all the way out to the center line. So he was doing his bit by that. But it's almost like he was late for a meeting, and he's wound his window as he's gone past me and given me 3 meters space. He's yelled at the window, "Get off the fucking road!" And it's almost like he was going to a meeting and he was going to be 3 seconds late, but he got there and he's like, "Fuck, guys, I was nearly late, but thankfully I told this guy to fuck off, so I made the time up. I'm good now."
Yeah.
It's like.
But I like how they yell that shit out, and as if there's ever going to be a scenario where he goes, "Get off the fucking road," and you go,
"Yeah, sure, good point."
Yeah, fair call. You just get off.
I did the old. I always do the old pullover thing, which I've actually since been advised to not do it because the New Zealand landscape has changed in a big way, and there's a lot of gang stuff in Nelson now, which you just don't know that, do you? So I've sort of reeled that in, but I got a guy I pulled up at a stop sign the other day. So a guy had buzzed, exact same thing. Drove past, didn't even slow down, but he just goes, fuck out of the road as he goes past. Okay. So I got up to the stop sign and I just knock on the window. Say, "Hey mate, what's up? Was that annoying for you that you had to, because you didn't even slow down for you've stopped at the stop sign, but you didn't have to slow down for me." And then he's just like, "Oh, you wankers on the road, and then I just had to break him down slowly and go, "What are you good at? What, you know what I mean? Just try. What are you doing? Why are you so angry? What is, bit of amateur psychology on him." I tell you what, that backfired in a big way.
You should have asked him, "Do you cry?"
Yeah, do you cry? Look, mate, do you cry?
I did a different approach. We're quite different, you and I, George. I'm realizing on the show.
Oh yeah.
Thank fuck for that. I do the I just don't even lift a finger off the bar now. Someone abuses me or drives past, I just don't even acknowledge that it happened.
Well, you're the Dalai Lama, are you?
I just no, because I'm scared.
Oh right.
That I'll react. And like you say, it's the wrong person. Next minute the anchors are on. And mate, look at me. There's not a lot of people I back myself against other than you that would.
I was going to say, you think you're in trouble? You got 20 kilos on me. What do I do?
It's not the size of the dog.
I'm so small they'll miss me. You know what I mean? That's my only thing. They'll punch and it'll go under my arm and between my arm and my rib or something. That's the only opportunity I've got. And I think, Jonesy, you'd be the only one that stood a shit show on a roadside brawl, and there's little chance to see you on a bike out. And
that's right. Yeah. That's right. E-bike.
He'll be the driver.
You'll be the guy punching the cyclist.
You're
random... to stop because he hasn't changed his brake pads.
That's right. I still haven't got that fixed. Car's running fine. We putting out random stats and fucking stories and make up facts. I was reading this really interesting article the other day, and they were saying that a dog's sense of smell is so good that they can detect cancers in people. So if you have a dog come up and it starts sniffing a sort of area, there's a chance that you're sick. And so about a week ago, I was at my mate Toffer's joint. He's got this dog Trevor, And he just had this
Can I stop you there? Toffer. Because I'm always curious about your mates' nicknames.
Toffer from
What's
Morty
the
Elliott.
origin of Toffer?
Christopher. And in sale, we just turned that to Toffer. And it just stuck.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Toffer. Yeah. Loves it. Christopher. Toffer. Just shorten it. Whatever you do in Australia, just shorten it. Even if it sounds shit, just shorten it. And so he's got this dog, Trevor, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'd had a couple of gins and he just was obsessed with my toes, like really digging in there. And I had my thongs off and I was like, if I was sober, I probably would have like, get out of it. But there was a part of my brain going, this actually feels all right. It's crook, like the dog's gnawing on my feet, but just let him go. He's having fun, He had a real sort of hunger for athlete's foot. And then I read that article. I'm like, fuck. And I'd seen that. I watched that Bob Marley doco about 3 months ago. And you know how he had a melanoma under his toe? And that's what got him in the end. I was thinking,
oh, really?
Mate. Yeah. Yeah, it was a melanoma in his toe. And they said to him, listen, we've spotted it. We need to operate and you're probably going to lose your foot. And he's like, no. I love playing soccer. And he was Rastafan. And no, we don't. We'll be right. And then it spread. And then he got 2 years down the track. And they're like, mate, you're brown bread. We can't do anything about it. It's too late. But then that was playing on my mind, and Trevor was chewing on my feet. So I'm thinking, fuck, maybe I've got like melanoma. So I hadn't had a skin check for ages. So I'm like, that's it. I'm booking in. And then you know how they have those Google reviews, like for any clinics and that. I'm thinking, no, I'm just going to go to a good one. But then I'm thinking, what's the variable with a skin cancer clinic? Like, how do you get a good review? How do you get a shit one? You go in, get a spot out the door.
Yeah.
And there's one that had 5 stars. And it was all because of the reception lady. All the comments were, reception lady's awesome. Reception. I'm thinking, I'm just going to go to see what makes this reception lady so good. So I get in there and she's one of those old school, maybe sort of mid-60s. I walk in there and she's on the phone and sees me walk in and locked eyes, but really locked them hard. And she's like on the phone, just like 1 minute, and you're like, oh yeah, cool. She's talking to this lady going, oh, look, we really love you, Karen. You'll get through it. And then she hangs up. She goes, sorry about that, Dales. It's the branch manager. I've got to really suck up to her, but you know how it is. How you been anyway? Like I've known her for 20 years. And she goes, you just here for a skin check? I go, yeah, I'll put your name in. She goes, how'd you go online? Was it okay? It's pretty complicated. So I was like, yeah, no, it was all right. She goes, yeah, good on you. Good on you for getting a check. I'll be there in a second. And you sort of sit down going, yeah, fuck yeah, I feel all right.
Feel good about this.
Yeah, this is great. So then I go in to get the check, and the nurse, it wasn't the doctor, it was the nurse. She goes, look, I'm nurse for Dr. Such and Such. Yeah, let's have a look. Drop your strides and your top. And I'm like, oh, shit, hang on. What's going on here? Like, we're straight into it. So then I'm sitting there and my jock's going, it's a bit fucking awkward, but, she medical, just get it done.
The dog, Trevor was only stuffing my toes.
Yeah. So what brought you here? Well, Trevor was chewing on my toes and I watched the Bob Marley doco and I'm sort of shitting myself. But anyway, so then she does all the checks and then she goes, okay, we'll wait for the doctor to come in. And then he comes in and he does the same thing. And he goes, okay, let's have a look.
What, your toes?
No, does the spot checks.
But
then I'm thinking, what does he double dip the chip? Why did she have to scan for it? He's going to do the same fucking thing. Wouldn't you scan them? It's all on the computer. So then we start the fucking process again. And I'm thinking, I hope she is a nurse here and not just some random that's going, drop your strides, like checking all your stuff, like pulling your jocks down, checking all your moles on your bum.
Do they scan your knob and everything?
Not your knob.
Oh.
No, it's just because surely that's not getting sun unless you're Mediterranean. Wow. Well, yeah, but definitely not mine. We talked about that last week.
Camp, there's probably a bit of melanoma.
So anyway, get all the checks done. And then I'm thinking, well, I don't think it's 5-star review because, there's double dipping the chip with the checks here. But then when I left, same thing again, reception lady. She's like, how'd you go, Dales? All good? I go, yeah, no, I've got the all clear. Oh, fantastic. Look, I'll run you through, $150. She goes, look, but you get $39 rebate. Make sure it all goes through. If you've got any drums, let me know because that money's better off in your pocket than the government's, okay? So, and any drum, we'll get you in 12 months. And I left, I'm going, if you're an organisation and you've got budget, tip it all into reception lady. Because if you get a really good reception lady, that's massive difference because the rest of it could be a shit experience. But if you see her going in and going out, mate, worth every
I want to
cent.
give her 5 stars. I didn't even get my bum checked.
Yeah, awesome. But anyway, I got the all clear.
Good news though. That's good news. Because I feel like you would be particularly susceptible to
pasty.
Have you seen the guy that your doppelganger running for the new? I didn't realize that I thought it was you at first. Running for the leader of the opposition for New Zealand.
Good looking rooster. Yeah,
what's his name? Luxon.
Yeah. Isn't that a curry? A Luxor?
Laxa.
Laska.
No, that's a mango lassi.
Alaska. Lassie.
No,
it's a dog.
It's a Laxa.
It's a laxative.
Oh, it's a car.
What are you fucking talking about now?
Lada.
That's a Lada.
Lexus is a car. Yeah.
Alexis.
Well,
that's a name.
I wish you all the best, Jonesy. I mean,
yeah.
Good on you.
So if anyone's listening, get a skin check. We do care about our listeners, and if any dogs really hone in on a particular area, get that checked as well.
So Trevor's showing that they're not always right.
Yeah. What was wrong with your feet? What was the final diagnosis?
Athlete's foot, bit of tinea.
Didn't you have for a while? What's the thing where you eat shellfish and you couldn't walk?
Gout.
Yeah.
You had that for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, but then I started walking and eating better, and I've transferred.
You're like a fucking pinata today.
I've transferred to mandarins and skinny bitches. So mandarins are your staple throughout the day, and skinny bitches at night. It's vodka sodas. You live like that.
Wait, is a mandarin like
you're going to strip?
Screwdriver?
No, mandarins are like the fruit. Genuine mandarins. I eat those during the day, and you can have a few skinny bitches at night. I mean, I should get T-shirts that say, "I look crook, but I feel great."
Is a skinny bitch the Chardonnay?
No, it's vodka soda.
That's the Diva Diesel.
Oh, right. Okay, right.
Diva Diesel.
Vodka soda.
Vodka soda with fresh lime.
There's a huge gym culture back here, I've noticed.
Hang on quickly. If we get any kickback that we're sexist, that's your guys' fault because you told us to not edit. So we could have cut that, but we're doing what you guys do.
That's not sexist, is it?
We
put shit equally on blokes and females. It's a balance.
Yeah.
So we don't hone in on particulars. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But I've noticed that there's a real gym culture at home where there's nothing. Everyone just likes to look their best, which is great. But they also like to drink a lot over New Zealand summer. So there's actually a real market for it in New Zealand where everyone just smashes these things called seltzers.
Seltzers, I was going to say. 70 calories or less.
Jeez. They are filthy, aren't they?
What are they?
Nice.
Like a spirit?
Just the dregs of water. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, they taste
like brewed water.
Yeah. Well, you know me. We had this argument a year ago when I was on the Smirnoff Double Blacks or whatever, the sugar-free ones.
Oh, yeah.
Copped an absolute flogging for that. In fact, I am copping a pounded today.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm woke, like I said, I'm grumpy. I'm waking up from a nap.
I got thick skin, mate, and I do cry after these shows regularly.
Yeah.
I'll talk about copping a pounding. I'll tell you who has been copping a pounding on Twitter recently.
All right.
Here we go.
Do you guys remember Andrew Talansky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was a gun rider. He rode for Garmin and Yank, dude. Won Dauphiné one year.
We were big rivals as amateurs in France.
Yeah.
And he had a biffo with Gero at the Tour one year, I think.
Yeah, that's right. He dropped Gero out. Well, they crashed together in the finish there.
So I remember after the finish, I was standing at the front of the bus with Jerry Ryan, Julian Dean, and we were just waiting for the riders to come in. There was a big crash. It was all a bit awkward. And Talansky rolled past.
Gero done his collarbone in London in Yorkshire.
That was
it was another one. And then anyway, Talansky rode past and he goes, "Tell your rider, tell Gero to fucking pull his head in or something." And Jules, just quick as a flash, goes, "Fuck off, Talansky, just fuck off." And then I remember Jerry just looked at him like, and then Jerry goes, "Great work, Julian. That's fantastic." There's like crowd. There was crowd everywhere. You know, like people wanting biddings of that. He just goes, "Fuck!" Like he was barking at a dog. Yeah.
You want Jules in your team?
Yeah, legend.
He's been copping it on Twitter, and deservedly so, in my opinion. So he's a for those who don't remember Andrew Slansky, he was a good bike rider. Rode for Garmin for years.
He was good. He was such a good bike rider.
But he's actually, the last time I saw Talansky race was at the Vuelta in 2016 when Chavez finished third and Yatesy was sixth, I think, and Talansky was fifth. Anyway, he's a massive anti-vaxxer, you know. And look, just to clear this up quickly, do I agree with anti-vaxxers? No, I don't, because I had the vaccine. But I have friends. We all have friends who haven't taken the vaccine, and they've all got their own reasons for it. You know, whether it's health,
we all have former friends that don't get the jab.
I've got friends who. I got friends, but the big difference between those people is they don't tell anyone. They don't talk about it. They have their reasons, and they just do their thing, and they live their lives, and they understand that there's going to be restrictions for them and whatever, but they make the decision. Obviously, Talansky is one of these what you call an anti-vaxxer that wants to shout it from the fucking rooftop and to provide all this like ridiculous conspiracy theory evidence and, you know, all this crap on Twitter. And he's been going on about it for weeks. And anyway, I saw this tweet from him that someone said that Phil Guyman, who's do you know Phil Guyman, George?
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but he's quite like vocal on Twitter as well. He's quite funny at times. Anyway, he tried to help Talansky. From what I can decipher from these tweets, he tried to help Talansky privately, like, mate, come on, you know, maybe think about this. You're a well-renowned guy, and you know, blah blah blah. Maybe just say quiet. Maybe influence him. You know. Anyway, and then Talansky, someone's brought that up, and then Talansky's replied and added, and Phil to send a message. Someone sent a message to Guyman, and Guyman says, "I would tweet to Talansky, but he blocked me a few months ago." And then Talansky's seen the tweet and followed it up and had another crack. And then anyway, they've started going at it. And then like, I'm going to go off. I'm going to contradict myself a bit here because this was pretty fucking good from Talansky, I reckon. It was just made me laugh. So Guyman's gone, you know, Talansky said something, blah, blah, blah. And then Guyman's gone, when you race bikes, people like me worked really hard and got to a very high level. But because you were a 99 percenter, 99% of yous, 99. Wait on, hang on.
Good start.
People like me worked really hard and got to a very high level. But because you were a 99.9 percenter, 99 percenters bought you water bottles and carried your jackets. I never said you should work for me because I was 20 watts shy of deserving it. And then Talansky's got to this. That was like reference to he was trying to like make some anecdote to what he was saying about anti-vaccines. Then Talansky's replied, really good. This made me laugh. He goes, "You're an incredible teammate on and off the bike, and I loved racing with you. But to imply you were anywhere near the top level is delusional. I wasn't at the very top level most races." And then he goes, "I wasn't at the very top level at most races, so it's misleading to your followers to imply that you were anywhere near it."
Oh, jeez. Shots fired.
I feel like that tweet hurt me, and it wasn't even about me, and that hurt. Ouch.
I'm on Phil
Guyman
with the vaccine.
I couldn't
that
send
was
that
quite
tweet.
a good reply.
I think
that is an example of someone that would have cried. That would lead you to tears.
Can we get Phil on the show and ask him?
Yeah,
we should have.
Why don't we get Phil and Talansky and have a live debate?
We mediate the session.
Yes. Let's do it.
Guys,
we'll have that music.
Reach out if you're listening.
Yeah. Hey, you know another thing you're saying, like there's the anti-vaxxers that sort of go under the radar and all that sort of stuff. I'll tell you something that's rare as fucking unicorn shit, right? That is, do you know of anyone that's competed in a half marathon or a full marathon and has not posted pictures on social media about it? Has there anyone that's done it and you find out 2 months later that's a good mate that you go, I didn't know you did a marathon? Oh, yeah. No,
do you know who I think the only person that could have done it is Michael Woods, because he often, I go training with him and he's just run like 10K or something in that morning. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's the only guy, but I don't think he would enter in an event. So no, I don't think there'd be an official timed person in the world who's ever not posted it. Unless you got a real shit one.
They're always the same
Yeah.
photos. There's always a photo at the start where they're like, anticipation. There's always a start line one where it's a selfie with their mate. Then there's another one that they've bought, and that's them running with sweat and looking completely fucked. And then there's the one with the family or the support at the finish with the medal.
If I did it though, Jonesy, it's a bit like why I don't advertise this podcast because I don't want anyone to know about it. So, you know what I mean? It's like I would do one. It'd be so shit, and I wouldn't want anyone to know. I'd enter under a fake name, and photos.
I remember.
I actually know that that's the 100% the reason you never post about it, eh? It's because you actually don't want people to listen to it, eh?
You guys are like, oh, we got like 100,000 listeners. Fuck, what? This is terrible. You guys that's good news. Like,
Tone it down on the social post bills. Tone it down on the promotion.
It's like when I was about to record this episode, I said to Dad, "Oh, are you here? Or are you going?" Because he's at home and been doing some work, and I said, "Are you going out? Or are you here?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to go out." So I was like, "Oh, I'll go into the bedroom to record it, and move a bit further from the Wi-Fi router." But I didn't want to record the episode. I didn't want him to listen to me record the episode, even though he's going to watch the episode.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
He's going to hear it anyway.
Kills your vibe.
But you just you want to give us So that was how I feel. One about this podcast, and two about if I ever did a half marathon or a marathon, because it would be such an atrocity. But
I remember that just on the marathon, last one for me is when I was in New York in 2014. I got tickets to Jimmy Fallon. I did some videos for NBC, and I said, "Look, as a trade-off, I want to go see Jimmy Fallon." They're like, I don't know, man. Like they're really hard to get. I said, "Well, how bad do you want the in-car vision of every stage? Like, it's a trade-off." Anyway, I went there, and it was the day after the New York Marathon. And all these people, there was a whole thing with people who finished would wear their medals around the next day like they've just come back from World War II. So they're in the crowd, and the guy who's warming the crowd up goes, "Okay, everyone's wearing medals here. In fact, why don't we try something? Everybody that's got a marathon medal, stand up, all stand up." He goes, "Okay, so you've completed the marathon." And they're all like, yeah. He goes, "I just got to say one thing to you guys. Nobody gives a shit. Sit the fuck down." And then everyone in the crowd's just like sitting there. You see people like taking the medal off, putting it in their pants, like, the fuck
that's
was
a
I
good
thinking?
warm-up, eh? Just absolutely abuse someone.
Just abuse, and it was 50 of them, at least 50 of them, just sitting there with their medals, like, I thought they were King Dick. And then you see all the fat people, like, just giving it these ones. Sit down, you bloody health freaks. So, if you have competed a marathon or Melbourne Marathon on the weekend, well done. This is fantastic.
That's a bit of homework for the listeners as we finish the show. Two things I want the listeners to do. One, if you've done a marathon or a half marathon, please post it and tag us. We'll retweet. Secondly,
be proud of it. Don't hold back. Be proud.
I want everybody to tweet to George. Tag George in as many tweets as you can. Bombard the shit out of him to retweet the show.
That's it.
Just one. Just retweet the show. And until he does that, keep hitting him.
Yeah. And good work, George, though. We are getting a regular routine with the show now. This is fantastic.
Yeah,
Bi-weekly.
We're like a good bowel movement. That's the key to a good bowel movement is regularity.
Okay. On that, and given the theme has been laying the boots into Jonesy, I think I will confess something. I'm just going to throw it out there, and we're not going to cut it. I'll just cop it. I broke a 22-year drought on Wednesday night.
Did you not take a poo?
I was meant to play basketball and drop the kids off, and I said to them, "Guys, I'm out." And they said,
"Wait, did you drop the kids off metaphorically?"
No, legitimately dropped the kids off. And then in Geelong, and I play basketball in Geelong that night. So my guts was rumbling, and I was like, "Guys, I'm out. I think I'm coming down with gastro. Kids get stuff from daycare and that." I'm sitting on the couch that night, and just chilling out, and I literally sneezed and shit myself, and literally was like, "Oh, gee, no way, that hasn't happened," and got up out of the couch. So I got it just in time where it didn't soil the couch. And then I literally I was in shock, and I'm walking around going, "Oh, this is fucking horrific." It just straight into the washing machine, straight into the shower. And then for 10 minutes, I had my head against the wall going, "What the fuck just happened?" And then I'd been drilling. I'm trying to toilet train my kids, and I keep drilling to them. You know, poo's going to the toilet. Poo's going to the toilet. Yeah, this is what big people do. And so we're in the car. I had the kids on the weekend, and I'm in the car. I said, "Hey, Will, guess what happened to Dad?" He goes, "What?" I pooped my pants. And he's like, "Really?" So it's like, oh, it's fucking horrific because your confidence, like, you know, it just goes. And you really ask questions like, how did that happen? Where am I at in life? You know, if I can't control a simple sneeze and that happened, what's next? You know, I've turned 40.
Basketball court.
But and they're white pants too. It would have been horrific. But yeah, that was horrific. So
22 years since you shit yourself.
22 years, and that was when I was 18. I was out in the piss, and I walked home and just gave up.
Oh no!
All right.
I just fuck it.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe.
Good, you guys.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe.
See you later.